This is just breaking, folks. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, has just fired back at Donald Trump and his new administration, warning Trump that Britain will not side with the United States against the European Union. Trump's allies in recent days have called on the Prime Minister to pick a side between the US and the EU, but Starmer, in a major foreign policy speech Monday night, called that, quote, plain wrong. Here's a clip.
So I want to be clear at the outset. Against the backdrop of these dangerous times, the idea that we must choose between our allies, that somehow we're with either America or Europe, is plain wrong. I reject it utterly. Attlee did not choose between allies. Churchill did not choose. The national interest demands that we work with both.
Be clear, Donald Trump's war in Iran is illegal, and the situation that has unfolded since is verging on insane. Oil is falling from the skies, sewers are exploding, the IRGC is indiscriminately attacking civilians across the region, cargo ships and potentially even mining the Strait of Hormuz, the economic consequences of which will be stark for the global economy, but for every single person living on these isles too. And whether the Prime Minister accepts it or not, he did indeed take us into that war when he allowed the Americans to use UK bases just last week. But I have a specific question. He'll have seen the same footage I have of an American Tomahawk missile landing on a primary school, killing 110 children. Does he believe that to be a war?
In our time, the weakness of multilateralism is a particular cause for concern at the international level. A diplomacy that promotes dialogue and seeks consensus among all parties is being replaced by a diplomacy based on force by either individuals or groups of allies. War is back in vogue, and the zeal for war is spreading.
So in other words, the Pope said, not today, Satan. Like, damn, has the Pope ever declined the invitation from the White House? Somebody might want to go check into that. And if y'all didn't know, the Pope is from Chicago, so he's a mile away. I can just imagine how Donald Trump responded when he found out the Pope did not want to accept his invitation. A tide is coming and some shit is dead.
Breaking news coming out of the UK. Keir Starmer told President Trump no means no. The UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer hits back at Donald Trump after Trump mocked him. No matter what, we are not going to participate in a war against Iran. We will not give bases to the US to attack. At this point, every leader is humiliating Trump. And BB, what do you all think about the situation? I think that this is a very good news on part of UK. I think that all of these European nations have realized that one man dragged America into a war, and now America is trying to drag all of its allies into a war, and the allies of America are starting to wake up and say, you know what, we want no parts of this. We don't want anything to do with this. This is not our problem. Leave it for the people who caused it, and let the people who caused the problem deal with the problem. All right, even though in recent times and previously some of these European nations were the very same ones instigating the situation of Iran that allowed for this whole situation in general to take place. So partially they are responsible, but sometimes being responsible also means understanding what you did was wrong and understanding that you should not be involved in that situation.
I'm not going to take lectures from someone who says we should join the war and a week later says, can I change my mind? I got that wrong. It is deeply embarrassing. After 9 days of saying join the war, join the war, join the war, yesterday she says, I never said we should join. I haven't said we should go in with the US. I'll tell you what's happened, Mr. Speaker. She and the Reform leader have been spooked because they realise they've jumped into supporting a war without thinking through the consequences.
Mr. Speaker, let's be clear, Donald Trump's war in Iran is illegal, and the situation that has unfolded since is verging on insane. Oil is falling from the skies, sewers are exploding, the IRGC is indiscriminately attacking civilians across the region, cargo ships and potentially even mining the Strait of Hormuz. Whether the Prime Minister accepts it or not.
People, to show you how bad this so-called Operation Epic Fury in roaring lion is going south on the side of the US and the blue state, Trump had previously asked the UK PM to support the US with aircraft carriers, right? He requested for Kingdom, our once great ally, maybe the greatest of all of them, is finally giving serious thought to sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. That's okay, Prime Minister Starmer. We don't need them any longer, but we will remember. We don't need people that join wars after we've already won.
Donald Trump, let's be perfectly clear. The special relationship isn't a one-way street, and it certainly isn't a playground for your personal whims. You talk about isolation, about pulling back and letting our allies fend for themselves. You think that makes you look strong. It makes you a liability to the very peace we spent decades building. I've spent my life as a prosecutor, holding people accountable to the law, and I will not hesitate to hold you accountable to the...
So ladies and gentlemen, I'm hoping that you're all doing well today and welcome to the channel. So guys, if you remember vividly, earlier, not like last month, Donald Trump had decided to bomb Iran. And right now, there's a very shaky relationship between the United States of America and its allies. And recently, you have seen in the parliament for the United Kingdom where Donald Trump had tried to ask for a favor. And then these people are like, you know what? We don't want to be part of this. We're not going to participate. We don't want anything that is going to mention Donald Trump. And the same Donald Trump had invited the Pope to the White House, and the Pope actually denied to go. And ladies and gentlemen, whenever a Pope decides not to visit you, it means that there's a very huge problem. Now, yes, I know that most of you will be asking, why would the UK not team up and help Donald Trump? This is because it's going to affect its diplomatic issues. It's going to create conflict with a lot of people in the world. And remember, it's not only the United States of America that the UK has relationship with. The UK has a relationship with a lot of countries, and when they try to engage with Trump, there are going to be issues because this person, with whatever reason, because right now, if people sit down and try to ask Donald Trump, why did you decide to bomb Iran? He actually doesn't have answers. This person is just playing the divide rule and conquer game. And as apparently Donald Trump wants some part of the UAE to be his. He wants to have full control because you know what? In the UAE, that is where we get the oil that is being distributed almost worldwide. And UAE is one of those richest country in terms of oil and all that. So Donald Trump wants a part of that, of which it's not going really to happen. So the United States of America has been trying to tell the UK government to at least help him, with this fight. And then they're like, why would we help you with this fight? You started this and you need to finish this because when you started your fight, you did not involve us. And why do you think it was important for Donald Trump to inform its allies? This is because normally when there is war, if you've studied about how World War I started, World War II, if you start a war, your allies also are going to be in a hot soup. They're going to be on a spot as well. So everyone is coming up and they're teaming up and they're telling at least the world is getting to know who Donald Trump is because he has like ulterior motives. He doesn't have like a direct motive to even its citizens and all that. The United Kingdom has noted the recent happenings that has been going down in the USA with the ICE and all that. And they are telling Donald Trump, you know what, we don't want to be part of this. We're not going to be part of this whole circus and we are going to look like, what are we doing? Because you started this and you need to finish it. So ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're new here, my name is Yvonne, and to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming in. To my new subscribers, thank you so much for being part of this, and you're welcome to be part of my online family. Tell me, what do you think? Do you think it is important that the other nation should just, drift away and leave Trump to do its own thing? Because at the end of the day, it's gonna cause chaos, and we don't want to live in a chaotic world. So until next time.